Captain Jack here. The 2024 N64 Game Jam was pretty unique. Instead of having individual games entered into the competition like previous N64 Game Jams, this instead had a minigame theme, with each team submitting a minigame to make a collection of overall games. So there's really only one game here, so to speak. You'll boot it up, pick how many players you have, and dive on in. The only real requirement for these minigames was that it had to support up to 4 people. There's 22 of them here, and I'm going to look at every single one. So strap on in and enjoy the ride. Starting out with a simple one, 64 Beats is a little rhythm game that has you use the C-stick to, well, go along with the beat. If you don't miss a note, you'll start to rack up a multiplier, but there's really not much more to it than that. Immediately on the other side of the scale is Coin Rush, which is probably the most complex, prettiest, and best minigame in the entire collection. This Paper Mario-esque collectathon has you grabbing as many coins as possible while trying to stay on the scrolling stage. You can bump other people off, use these little crystal hole thingies, and there's even a boss at the end. If any of these minigames deserved to turn into a full game, it's this one. Destroy is a funny little game that sees 4 Godzillas descend on a town at the same time, and whoever destroys the most buildings with their tail wins. The team behind this minigame was actually the same team that was behind the Mega Textures demo that I showed off in an earlier video of mine. In Furball, you'll be running up and down a ladder trying to hit as many targets as possible with I guess a furball. There's no penalty for missing, so you might as well just spam the A button as fast as possible. I think you can figure out which one is me here. Halcyon Hexagons has you claiming as many platforms as possible for your color by landing on them. But I've noticed all the other players die before every platform can be claimed, so I'd say the real goal here is just to stay alive. Holes reminds me of one of those web-based games like Agar.io. You're a growing circle that swallows more and more until you're so big that you just win by how big you are, killing who knows how many people in those office buildings on your quest to get to that size. Hot Hexagons looks pretty familiar, but it's more honest about its gameplay than its brother minigame. In this one, touching a platform causes it to fall, so it's pretty easy to figure out what happens next. I'd say this one's quite a bit better, and it's fun trying to create a no man's land between you and the other players. Hydroharmonics is very creative. Your head needs to swallow the respective colored notes as they appear, but swallowing an arrow note makes you switch bodies with another player. This might seem kinda useless, but it's pretty good for throwing someone off and making them miss their notes. There are tons of different note types here with different amounts assigned to each, and it gets pretty chaotic. Land Grab is a minimalist puzzle game that has you placing Tetris ripoff shapes to take over as much of the grid as possible. But there's a twist. You can only have your pieces touching diagonally. I'm sure there's some strat here to actually win, but I was never too good at these spatial awareness games. Larceny is a 2v2 blink and you'll miss it cops and robbers game, where the robbers have to grab 2 treasures and the cops have to stop them. But with the A button, the robbers can just teleport through walls, so it's pretty easy for the robbers to win this one. Lucker's Arena is a funny one. It's a tournament of snakes and you'll play slots to get points to feed whatever snake you're rooting for. It's basically completely luck-based and might go on for a little bit too long, but the snakes look great and are well animated. May the best snowman win is one of the best ones by far. You'll build your snowman, and whoever has the best decorated snowman when the time runs out wins. But you can also mug people bringing clothes back for their snowman to sabotage. There isn't an actual score until the game is done, so make sure to attack whoever you think might have the most dapper snowman. It's simple yet has strategy, and is just a great time. On the surface, you might think Paintball wants you to cover as much ground as possible in your paint, but it's actually about spraying the other players until they work for you. Whether your new teammates will actually try to help you when they're converted is another question, but I'm a little too distracted by all the pretty colors splattered everywhere to think about that. Sauna Rush is by far the most bizarre. You'll start in a sauna room trying not to overheat by ducking down right when the water is added to the coals. If you survive that, you'll go out and take a swim, pressing all the buttons in order to swim faster. I'd like to think that having more sauna heat makes you faster in the swimming section, but who knows really, you can barely tell. Just enjoy how freakishly bizarre these nude character models are. Snacks will have you carrying rats to the mother snake in order to get the highest score, and whoever gives her the most rats wins. There's a little bit of a speed boost mechanic here when a rat gets fed to the mom, and you'll have to use that wisely. The presentation is probably the best thing about this one. Space Waves is absolutely crazy. It's complex in both graphics and gameplay. You'll either be a defending turret or one of the 3 players controlling the ships, and it's a fight to the death. There's power-ups to grab like missiles and a shield, and the locations and music even rotate every time you play. Good luck, the CPU ships are pretty smart. And if you're emulating this one, you could have a little bit of slowdown. A little bit. It's a small price to pay for this absolutely giant minigame. Sword Strike is a total whiplash from the previous game. It's a simple little 2D platformer that has you try to kill everyone else on the field. You can slide here to build up momentum, and you'll absolutely need it. In fact, that's the only edge over your opponents you can get here. The third arm is basically a video game version of Twister. You'll have to press and hold all the buttons highlighted in order not to bleed health. This type of minigame is perfect for the Nintendo 64. Since its freakish controller would need an alien with 3 arms in order to hit all the buttons, hence the name of the game. This one only really works on real hardware for obvious reasons. Underground Grind brings the snakes back from the gambling minigame, and you'll need to dig through blocks to find treasure. It's basically all luck again, but my favorite character in this minigame is probably the giant FPS counter that really steals the show. Jokes aside, this is actually a great collection of minigames, and I really like the concept for this year. The smaller contribution needed means there were many more entries. This is usually the part where I pick out one hack or homebrew and I say, check this one out before the rest. But there's only one game here, so check the game out. The link's in the description.